That was me yelling into this microphone I bought. Yeti, what's the name of this microphone? Yeti Nano. It's a good microphone. My old one had to have a whole stand that you like attached to the table. There's videos of me that have it set up. It was a mess. I didn't like it. I am going to talk about Ben 10 aliens again because it's been a little while since I've talked about Ben 10 aliens, and it's nice. It's just nice. It's comforting for me. I mean, I wouldn't say Ben 10 is like, I have other stuff that is closer, nearer and dearer to my heart. Scooby-Doo, The Muppets. Those two things. Dungeons & Dragons, Pokemon. There's a lot of stuff. But for whatever reason, I feel like Ben 10 is the easiest to talk about for me. Maybe that's just because the fan base is smaller than with a lot of the other things I like, so I feel less pressured about making like really good content. And maybe it's also just because it's easy to make a little ranking video talking about aliens. It's harder to make a ranking video where you rank Muppets, because those are like little guys and those are people. They're felt people, but they're kind of like people. But I'm going to talk about aliens. Specifically, I'm going to talk about my 10 favorite underappreciated aliens. I don't want to say underrated or underused, but I just feel like I don't see enough love for them, both from the show and the community. Excuse me. And I guess I'm just going to get right into it. I don't have a lot to say about the topic itself. You know, it's a pretty simple thing to make a video about. But I do want to say that this is a cute shirt. It's got sunflowers on it. These are little peach earrings. I haven't painted my nails in a little while because it always comes off so quick. Feels like more trouble than it's worth. I might get like an appointment. And this is a little hair bow that looks like a butterfly. And now I'm going to talk about Ben 10 aliens. So up in this corner of the screen, the camera reverses things and it scares me, is Wild Mutt. My favorite OG alien. Wild Mutt is up there with like Stinkfly, Ripjaw. Is it Ripjaw or Ripjaws? It doesn't matter. It does matter because that's another one on the list. As aliens that feel alien. You know what I mean? Heat Blast feels less like Heat Blast would not be at all out of place in a fantasy setting. Forearms is pretty alien too, but like, I feel like there's several types of like science fiction. There's like science fantasy, alien fiction, and humans with advanced tech fiction. Humans with advanced tech fiction usually has mutants and robots, but not a lot of aliens. Alien fiction, this guy here. And science fantasy is where Heat Blast comes in. And I like alien sci-fi. And I love Wild Mutt. Wild Mutt is cool because I like utility aliens. Like, Wild Mutt is not the fastest or the strongest or the best at climbing, but Wild Mutt has great sense of smell, this cool echolocation that lets Ben see like invisible things while he's in Wild Mutt form. And I like that. I like simple aliens, and the design is really cool. The complete lack of eyes is something I really like. The like protruding lower jaw, the gill-like things, and just the posture of like the long arms. It's just a really cool design to me. I like that it has like a pauldron instead of just having the Omnitrix symbol on its chest. I think it also would have been cool to have the Omnitrix symbol on its face where eyes might have been, but I could see how, like, from a design perspective, that could make people think the Omnitrix is its eyes, and that's not. So I get why they did that. But that could be also cool. Maybe a bat alien that doesn't have eyes, same planet maybe, has the Omnitrix symbol on where its eyes would be, has like sonic powers and flight, and is like a sibling species to Wild Mutt maybe. Ultimate Wild Mutt sucks. I do not like Ultimate Wild Mutt. It's just purple and has like spikes and a tail and can talk, which takes away the most interesting thing about Wild Mutt, that he can't talk while he's Wild Mutt. So, Ultimate Wild Mutt. is lazy. This is a good design. This is a good little doggy boy. He's a wild mutt. Stupid. But I like him. He's cute. He's a cute little guy. I'm turning my head in the direction that wild mutt is on my screen. But he's actually right there. He's actually here. I wish I could figure out a way to make this not flipped. Can I do that? Transform. Oh, hey, now yes, now it's correct. Okay, I should have done that before I started the video, but that's okay. Yeah, wild mutt is good. I feel like wild mutt, because power creep happens in all forms of media. You have to keep outdoing yourself, you know? It's the reason that I don't really watch shonen anime. I can see why, for a lot of people, OG Ben 10 is their favorite, because the scale kept growing indefinitely, and it can get to be a bit much. And wild mutt kind of falls behind, because when you have like Humongousaur, like, I guess wild mutt is more agile in the senses thing, but I feel like, you know, certain late game aliens just invalidate a bunch of other ones. I'm frankly glad wild mutt shows up as often as he does when the OG series ended. Let me look up the list of appearances. Yeah, appears about 7 times in the first 2 seasons of Ben 10, but even by the last season of Ben 10, he only shows up twice, and he doesn't stay as wild mutt that often, partially because for that long, partially because he can't speak. But like Ultimate Alien shows up a couple times, mostly in season 3, but only because there's an ultimate form, and I think the ultimate form only shows up twice. He gets a good number. He gets at least 1 appearance per season for Omniverse, even if they're just cameos, which is nice. Because I like wild mutt, and I think that wild mutt deserves to be just for the utility, you know? Fight more invisible things, have more, like, you gotta sense the vibrations. You're like in a tunnel and it branches off into different paths and you have to sense the footstep vibration, stuff like that. That's more than just a fight, because wild mutt is good for utility stuff, and that's part of why I like him. So Ripjaws, it's plural, my mistake, shows up way less than wild mutt does. 3 times in season 1, 4 times in season 2, does not show up at all in season 3, twice in season 4, shows up a single time in Ultimate Alien, and then non-cameo shows up twice in Omniverse. And that is a shame. There's not a lot of aliens that are super maneuverable underwater, but there's also not going to be that many times that you need to be underwater. It's the Aquaman conundrum. Aquaman is one of the only superheroes who's going to be worth anything in an underwater conflict, but how often are you underwater? You're not very often. I mean, Ripjaw is still good on land, very strong, extremely powerful jaw strength, but Forearms is just inarguably better and doesn't dry out like Ripjaws does. But I don't know, I feel like there could have been more scenarios where things happen underwater, even if it was just an excuse to have Ripjaws show up, because Ripjaws is so cool looking. And Ripjaws fulfills my love of aliens that, even if they are humanoid, and the fact that he stands and he has 4 limbs, he is not, like, he still looks kind of grody in a really fun way. And I think Ripjaws is kind of cute. Not cute in like I don't want to fuck Ripjaws. I'm sure people definitely want to fuck Ripjaws, but I'm personally not one of them. More power to you. The only fish I want to fuck is Sidon from Breath of the Wild. Call me a basic bitch, I don't care. But Ripjaws is kind of cute in like a fish way. Fish are cute. I don't know, man. I like him. I love Ripjaws. But I've been talking for 2 minutes and I have run out of things to talk about with Ripjaws. I love the mermaid thing, the fact that it's capable of shifting between 2 legs or a fish tail, and I really feel like there was more potential for water. I could also kind of see Ripjaws being useful in like a low gravity situation, maybe. That's not the same. You can't push off of anything in low gravity like you would push through water. So that's actually not true. But still, Ripjaws could have showed up more. There were times where they were near or in water. Ripjaws could have shown up more. Ripjaws could have. Derek J. White, I'm coming for you. And I'm making you give Ripjaws his own spin-off series about fish. And it's like Aquaman, it's all underwater. Tangents. I would love a full Aquaman TV show. I think every main Justice League member deserves a TV show. Superman, he got one and it was great. Superman the Animated Series, it's simple. It's just pure and good and nice. And I know people hate that for some reason. They don't like the idea of characters that are just good. People like internal conflict. And Superman has internal conflict. His internal conflict is he's trying to figure out the best way to do the right thing and hurt as little people as possible. And you can make that interesting. You can make him grappling with like the public not trusting him because he has superpowers, or maybe even being wrongfully worshipped by the public, like with the Man of Steel Christ allegory stuff. You can make Superman interesting. And Superman the Animated Series does. And he's also great in the Justice League show. League of Superheroes, we don't have to talk about that one. It's a great character. Batman the Animated Series, great show. Batman Beyond, better show. The Batman 2004, also a good show. I don't care. That show had 5 seasons for a reason. It's a good show. Batman the Brave and the Bold, good, campy, pure fun. Beware the Batman is fine. It's fine. Green Lantern, the animated series. Green Lantern gets some flack, which is fair because he's a space cop. Green Lantern, the animated series, is a good show. I don't care that it's kind of ugly because it's mid-2010 CGI. It could be Reboot, and it's not. And some of you still liked Reboot and Transformers Beast Wars, and I know it. Watch Green Lantern, the animated series. It's good. So what I'm saying is Aquaman deserves a TV show. The King of Atlantis trilogy of shorts on HBO Max, which was taken off HBO Max in the Warner Brothers Discovery merger, and that makes me so mad. Where am I supposed to watch it, Warner Brothers? You're asking me to pirate it. It's good. And I really love the characterization of Arthur Curry as a guy who wants to do what's right for his people, but fundamentally doesn't understand these people because he's an outsider. And I just really like Aquaman, man. I think he's super underrated. If they could turn the King of Atlantis miniseries into a TV show, you throw Garth in there, you throw Tula, and you throw Calder, maybe split Calderon and Jackson Hyde into 2 characters and make them half-brothers. That's a whole season's worth of drama for you. Black Manta, Scavenger, Ocean Master, Coram Wrath, the Atlantean Terrorist. The Deep is the name of the team, but there's another thing, like the Thirst or something that's like an Eldritch Atlantean magic. It's good. Aquaman deserves a show. Or another trilogy of shorts. I could work with that too. Or even just one more. Just one more. I love Aquaman. So this is me making up for how little I had to say about Ripjaws. If Aquaman deserves more, Ripjaws deserves more, and vice versa. When Eye Guy was first revealed, it felt like an event. They did multiple versions of the Secret of the Omnitrix. Secret of the Omnitrix. It was, I think, 2007, so I was just old enough to be freaking out about shit. And it had the red edition and the gold edition that aired. The red edition was the original airing, and the gold edition came out like a month later. And it's wild. I can't remember which version had which, but I do remember that one of them, oh my god, there's a blue edition too? What is happening? So it seems like the different editions all changed what alien he uses in the opening fight with Dr. Anima. And the red edition was just Heat Blast. And it's like, yeah, Heat Blast, fan favorite, he's the fire alien, cool. The blue edition had Accelerate, and that's cool because Accelerate's fast. And then the gold edition, which doesn't air for a month, has Eye Guy in it. And I remember that being like a big thing. It was like Pokemon different editions, and one of them is a new unique alien. And like, look at this guy. He's gross. I like things that don't have eyes in the typical places. He's got like these big veiny bat ears. All of those eyes look kind of gross, and each of them has a different, well, not each of them, but he's got so many different like things he can do with those eyes. And I was always sad that after the OG series, he doesn't have a big eye on his chest anymore, but he can like merge all his eyes together. It's so cool. He can shoot like energy beams. He can, I think he has an ice beam he can do. Yeah, he has a freeze ray, energy ray, electricity, fire, sticky goo. He can see in all degrees, which frankly, I think that the eyes having all those different traits is kind of like unnecessary, because an alien with a bunch of eyes is already kind of interesting to me. 360 degree vision is very good in a fight. You can see what's coming from every direction. Great reflexes. The eyes can like protrude outward and have like periscope kind of stuff, like he moves an eye to his hand and sticks his hand in a pipe or something. There's a lot of utility you can get out of that. Plus a bunch of eye beams. It's just cool. He only shows up twice in the original series. He shows up in the finale episode and the movie, and then he doesn't show up again until Omniverse, where he shows up a good number of times in Omniverse. I'm not mad about that. It takes a while for Eye Guy to get the proper love, but he gets it eventually, and that makes me happy, because Eye Guy is a cool alien. I like him, and I like that he reminds me of a bat. I mentioned in my segment on Wild Mutt, I like bats. Bats are cool. There should be a bat alien. I've run out of things to say about Eye Guy. I had a lot to say about Wild Mutt, and I feel like I have less to say now, but that's fine, because who cares? Now we start getting into the Ben 10,000 aliens. Ben 10,000, great episode, love it. I love the world it created, and I would love a Ben 10,000 series about his son Ken, just because, at least in the OG episode, the world it presented was this very cool, like futuristic, but it had sort of a, not steampunk obviously, but it had that sort of aesthetic. It was cool. And as a kid, I always thought it was crazy, the idea of 10,000 aliens. There's no way there can be that many cool ones. And I was right. There can't be that many cool ones. There's less than 100 aliens in the actual show, and they ran out of cool ones by the end and made Astrodactyl. But I really like the idea of it. Arctiguana only shows up in the future episodes of Ben 10,000. And even in Ultimate Alien, he only shows up in future aliens. So the first time he ever turns into Arctiguana normally is in Omniverse. And in Omniverse, he only shows up 3 times. So Arctiguana did not get the love he deserves. He's the original ice alien. I always, as a kid, was so frustrated because I thought Alien Force, when it was announced, I was like, oh, all those aliens that only got used a few times in the original show are going to get more screen time and be expanded. And then instead of that happening, Wildvine and Arctiguana and all of them aren't in it at all, and there's new aliens that have their powers plus other stuff, which like confirmed that there was no need for them to show up. Like, why would Wildvine show up when Swampfire can do all that? Why would Arctiguana show up if Big Chill can freeze things and become intangible and fly? So as a kid, I was always like, I want to see the ones that you already showed off, but more. And Arctiguana was always like, I'm glad that it shows up again, but only showing up 3 times in Omniverse, like, man, that sucks, man. Like, how many times in Omniverse does Big Chill show up? Because, oh my god, there's a reboot Big Chill. Big Chill's in the reboot? Oh, he's in Alien Extinction. Okay. Big Chill in Omniverse shows up more often than Arctiguana does by a long shot. And it's like Big Chill got to show up so much in Ultimate Alien Force. Let Arctiguana have his time in the sun. You know? And like Big Chill can freeze things, but I feel like Arctiguana with the ice beam can like make ice constructs better than Big Chill can. You know, like Arctiguana could be like Frozone, you know, he makes like slides and pathways through the air out of ice, could make walls, weapons even to wield. I feel like there's a lot of potential that Arctiguana never gets to live up to because Big Chill gets more screen time. And I'm not that mad because there's only so much mental energy you can put into being mad about cartoon aliens. But Arctiguana is such a cool design, and he's not that humanoid. The Omniverse design is like more conventionally appealing as far as like toys and monster designs go. This guy's kind of weird and ugly and like almost a little frog-like, and that's why I like it, because it's weird and a little ugly, but in a cute way. If you think this guy's not cute, you're wrong. Ultimate Arctiguana sucks though. Like Ultimate Arctiguana, I'm not gonna put it on screen, but I am gonna bring it up on my computer and you can look it up if you want to. I don't want to make you guys see that if you don't want to. Albedo as negative Arctiguana. Now, where is a link to the ultimate form on this page? I guess I gotta look it up. Ultimate Arctiguana is hideous. I'm not gonna look it up, but it does not look like an iguana anymore. It's got like trumpets on its shoulders that shoot ice. It looks weird and horrible, and not in a fun, thematically coherent way. It just looks bad. So, yeah, I am not a fan of the ultimate form, but I've said it many a time. Am I a fan of any ultimate form? Not really. It's just weird they gave Arctiguana an ultimate form that shows up a single time. But yeah, this is a good alien. I like him. Definitely would have this guy on my playlist if I had a Omnitrix. Okay. My beautiful boy. I love Spitter. I've talked about this before. I really like Spitter. Look at that. It's like part catfish, part frog, part friend. It's got big old teeth and goopy little eyeballs and whiskers, and I like it a lot. I really like Spitter. I really do. And I think Spitter does not get love from anyone but me, so I have to love him even more. I understand why Spitter is not well loved. Spitter does not have a lot going for it. It is ugly, and it's like ugly on purpose, and I don't mind. Whoops. I don't mind that. I don't even think ugly is bad. I think it's kind of cute. I would give this thing a hug, and it would be sticky, and that would be fine. That would be fine. I'd put my head in his mouth and take pictures, and it would be good. But I get why people don't like Spitter. Especially because Spitter does not have a lot going for it in terms of powers. Spitter inflates and shoots out slime. He has like powerful, he's got more strength, but those are the two things that Spitter can do. The slime is cool because not only is it super slippery and you can't have like traction or friction on it, but it's conductive. You can electrify it. But those are also weaknesses because he can slip on it. He can be electrified by it. That's it. That's the extent of what Spitter can do. It deserves more. It really does. I'm looking through the trivia because I read somewhere that either Derek J. Wyatt or Thomas Perkins or some writer said that Upchuck wouldn't have a sense of smell and would be immune to like noxious gas. So I'm gonna theorycraft Spitter here. Goop has corrosive slime. Stinkfly has sticky slime. both of them have other things they can do, you know? Stinkfly has stinky, smelly slime, but also, I think can also do corrosive, can fly, has the tail spike. Goop is like indestructible, can fit through any gap at all. Spitter should be able to do all slimes. Spitter should be able to have the slippery slime that is conductive, maybe also freezes really well, sticky slime and corrosive slime. Spitter should be able to do all of those, but that's the only thing. You know, he can't fly, he can't morph his body. He could maybe be decent at swimming just because there's no great swimming aliens other than Ripjaws, but I just think Spitter should be able to do more because he really can't do a lot, but it's a design I really like. He's a little swamp guy, and I wish that he could do more other stuff. I don't think Spitter ever even is officially named. Like 10-year-old Ben is like, hey, do you call this Spitter? And Ben 10,000 is like, I stopped naming him. So I think its name is Spitter, which is not... Yeah, okay. Pufferfish-like species from the rainy planet, so I'll pass. I guess there's not a lot about him. Yeah, I wish that they could do more. I'm scouring the wiki for more info, but it's just sticky slime and moderate strength. Or slippery slime, I'm sorry. But I think that they should be able to do all slime. I love Spitter. Spitter would be, if I were doing a Ben 10 reboot, Spitter would be a founding alien on it. Or a Ken 10 show also, that could be cool. I love Spitter so much. I can't communicate why I love Spitter so much, but it's the same reason that I love bug-type Pokemon. Ugly things can be cute. Ugly, gross things are cute. And this guy is cute. I don't care what anyone says, this is a cute guy. This is a cute... I would have a pet Spitter. I actually don't think... They're pretty smart. I assume they can talk. I don't remember off the top of my head. So, well, no. This and Wildmutt are the only two non-speaking aliens. But I think this guy probably could talk if the show let him show up more than twice. God, 2 times. Alien with the least appearances by a wide margin. And there's other aliens that don't show up that often that aren't on this list. Like, how many times could Buzzshock have possibly appeared? Once it shows up in the future episodes and shows up like 4 times in Omniverse. So there's other aliens, there's a lot of aliens that don't show up a lot, but Spitter has the least appearances by such a wide margin that it is legitimately sad to me. I love Spitter. Spitter would be on my Omnitrix playlist, and I would use Spitter all the time, even if my suggestions were not followed and Spitter didn't get different slime varieties and it was just slippery. I'd figure out a way to make that work. Put out fires with it. You could even put out phosphorus fires because it's not just water. Fire retardant properties. That could be a cool thing to give to the slime. It's good. I like Spitter. And one day, when I am the writer on the new Ben 10 show, Ken 10, and a non-canon continuation of the original shows that takes aspects from all the possible future timelines, Spitter will be one of the main aliens. And in this world, I will also create a new Scooby-Doo show where they're in a polycule. But until then, I have to just keep making videos where I talk about how much I like Spitter. Lodestar is a funny guy for a number of reasons, really. There's a lot of cool stuff about him. He got a cool design. He didn't look that cool in Ultimate Alien. He had like tiny feet and hands, and his head didn't have a cool fork on it yet. And he wasn't as sharp. The Ultimate Alien, it's one of the like redesigns that I think is unequivocally better. Lodestar does not show up a lot. Appearances. Let's see. Handful of appearances in Alien Force. A good number of appearances in Ultimate Alien. I'm not mad about that. Twice in Omniverse. That's sad. Twice in Omniverse. But we get to something, we're getting there earlier than I thought we would. Lodestar is perhaps the most invalidated alien of them all because Gravitack exists. And Gravitack's power is gravity manipulation. Magnetism is just gravity manipulation that only affects metal. I guess you can't really repel stuff with gravity manipulation, but you can make gravity strong on a nearby thing to pull whatever you would have repelled. So Gravitack does just kind of fully invalidate Lodestar a little bit. And unlike Big Chill and Swampfire, examples I've used in the past, I really like Gravitack, so I'm a little bit of a hypocrite. But I also really like Lodestar, and I feel like there are situations where Lodestar could be good. Because, like, magnetism, you can grab a little piece of metal, and you can go like, whoa, 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 you know? You can manipulate a lot. The gravity has to, like, be orbiting, or it has to be coming or going. It's hard to use gravity to... I guess that's not true, because there's parts where he slams people up and down. I can't think of a situation that Lodestar would be helpful in, that Gravitack also wouldn't be helpful in, other than maybe when you only want to move something made of metal. But I think Gravitack can turn on and off what he's affecting with gravity. So I think Lodestar really is, like, fully invalid. I have no idea what Lodestar can do. Let me go powers. Magnetic fields. Overload electrical circuits. That's one. Magnetic pulses. Attract things, repel things. Block solar energy attacks. I don't know what that means, but go off, King. Damage and destroy magnetic substances at will. Generate a green magnetic force field that protects him from most ballistic attacks. Gravitack could probably do that just with gravity, so that's not that. If Lodestar gets destroyed by something as dangerous as an explosion, he can regenerate by pulling his shattered pieces back together with magnetism, more durable than Gravitack. That's two. The solar energy attack thing, I have no idea when that could ever possibly be useful. But, overloading electrical circuits. Durability. Flight with his magno telekinesis. Can act as a compass. He always knows what way is north. So yeah, there's not a lot of situations where it's gonna be good. There's really not a lot of situations where Lodestar is gonna be better than Gravitack. But I think this is a really cool design. The colors are interesting. I like the fork, like the tuning fork hands. It's less humanoid than you'd think. The shoulder prongs that keep the head, like, locked in a magnetic stasis. It's a really cool design. I just wish I could think of a way to make it relevant. But, you know, you can't win them all. It's strange to me that I'm putting Amphibian on this list. There's 5. The Andromeda aliens are, like, a huge portion of the story of Ultimate Alien. Water Hazard, Terraspin, Energy, Armadillo, Amphibian. But I lost my train of thought. I feel like the least used one. That could be wrong, because I'm pulling up appearances. Okay, Cameo and Dream don't count, so Amphibian is used in 1, 2, 3. That's not a lot. A lot of these are cameos. Versus, let's see, Armadillo gets used quite a bit. NRG gets used more than amphibian. Terraspin. It's used both more than amphibian and also more often than I even realized. But the water hazard. Shows up not that much in Ultimate Alien, surprisingly, but a good deal of times in Omniverse. So, Amphibian is the least often used Andromeda Galaxy alien. And I kind of get why, because... So, NRG is not really a fire alien. He's like a nuclear energy laser alien, which is kind of different. But fire, lasers, it's common to want to shoot something hot. Armadillo, very strong, but the drill thing specifically, like digging, hadn't been used before. And Water Hazard is the only water manipulation alien in the classic continuity. And Terraspin has the wind factor and an immunity to magic. Amphibian can't do anything that a pre-existing alien can't already do. Electricity powers, phasing through stuff, it's all been done before. Absorbing electrical energy, flying. He's kind of stretchy and he can breathe underwater and is very like mobile underwater, but we've already seen that through Ripjaws. Underwater strength is not good enough. Can become pure energy in order to enter electrical cables is cool, but Buzz Shock could already do that. The main thing that is unique about Amphibian is that Amphibian can read minds by sensing like the electrical pulses in someone's brain, but otherwise it's just a bunch of stuff a bunch of other aliens can do, and yet I really like it. I've said it before, there's a lot of electricity aliens. Frankenstrike, Amphibian, Feedback, Brainstorm, Shock Squatch. That's like 5 off the top of my head. Did I say Buzz Shock? Buzz Shock, Frankenstrike, Shock Squatch, Amphibian, Feedback. I need to write them down. Brainstorm, that's 1. Frankenstrike, that's 2. Amphibian, that's 3. Buzz Shock, that's 4. Shock Squatch, that's 5. And Feedback, that's 6. 6 electricity-based aliens. That's a lot, and it's hard. I get it. It's hard to make them stand out from each other. Brainstorm has the, what's it called? Like electrokinesis, like using electricity to telekinetically move conductive objects. That's cool. That's unique. Also very strong. Shock Squatch can like electrically charge his punches and is like an electric fighter. That's pretty unique. Feedback absorption is his whole thing. Without it, he really is not especially useful. So then you come down to Buzz Shock, Frankenstrike, and Amphibian. I don't think you need all 3. Buzz Shock is small, cool. Amphibian both of them can become electricity. Both of them can manipulate electricity. Amphibian is just better. Frankenstrike is too similar to Shock Squatch and is also gross looking, and I don't like him. You could get rid of those 2, and then you would have 4, and Amphibian would be the one who is living electricity. Although I don't know that it's fair to say Feedback is an electricity alien. He can absorb all kinds of energy, including life energy. Jesus Christ. Frankly, Feedback is my favorite of them, but Amphibian, I like Amphibian. I wish there were less electricity aliens so Amphibian would have more time to shine occasionally. Because Amphibian is a really cool design. I like it a lot more than Frankenstrike. I hate Frankenstrike. It looks like a dude. Don't like Frankenstrike. But I do like amphibian, and I wish it got used more. Do I have bags under my eyes? I can't tell. And sometimes I look into my eyes, and sometimes I look into the camera. Because I'm an amateur. But you know who's not an amateur? Amphibian. Anyway. A Katamari Damacy alien seems so obvious, you know? Like, that's just a good idea, to be able to roll stuff around and get a big ball, and the bigger it is, the more destructive it is, blah, 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 blah. That's a good idea. It's fun. Ben 10 should be fun. And it's distinctly non-humanoid, which I really like, especially because there's not a lot of, like, omniverse aliens that aren't, like, I'm gonna pull up a list of Ben 10, all his aliens, and I'm gonna go to the omniverse section. Feedback is pretty humanoid. Blocks isn't that humanoid, but is still bipedal. Gravitack isn't that humanoid, but is still bipedal. All of the... Yeah, Ball Weevil is the only non-joke alien to not be bipedal, and is one of, like, 4 or 5 ones that aren't super humanoid. Oh god, I forgot Kick and Hawk existed. Rough. But Ball Weevil is really cute. He's really small. He's got a little antenna. He spits out a little green sticky ball. And that on its own is pretty cool. You've just got these sticky balls that you can shoot. They explode on impact, or he can, like, detonate. You can set them on a timer. That in and of itself is pretty cool. Just an alien that makes bombs and can decide at what point they blow up. Yeah, cool. And then add in the ability to roll around, to have the plasma balls absorb and dissolve matter to grow in size and create bigger explosions. You've elevated that to a cool new level. And then there's also the small plus of, like, the threads, like the goo threads he can create to tie people up. Can make plasma balls that aren't just spheres, like they can be other shapes. Ball Weevil is cute. I like it. He can use the threads, like the rope, as a whip. He can trap people in big balls of plasma. Has a great sense of balance. That's not super relevant very often, but it's still cool. I like Ball Weevil. How many times Ball Weevil show up? Ball Weevil shows up a single time in the first season, twice in season 2, once in season 3, does not show up a single time in seasons 4, 5, and 7. Ball Weevil deserved better. I like Ball Weevil. I think Ball Weevil is really cute. I think it's got a lot of potential. You know, if he doesn't have time to make him bombs, he can just whip you with the plasma threads. It's a really cute design. That's cute! What do you people think is cute? I don't know what normal people think is cute. That's not true. My favorite Pokemon type is Fairy type, and that's the cute type. But it's just wild to me that this isn't considered cute. It's a little bug. Bugs are cute. You ever seen a beetle? You ever seen a rhinoceros beetle? It's cute. That's a cute guy. That's a cute little guy. I love beetles. Which is a shame, because Eatle is kind of a boring alien. Not a super interesting design, and it's just like Upchuck, but not as good. I would have loved another beetle alien. Maybe like a cool samurai beetle or something. I don't know. Something that focuses on how, like, the tough exoskeleton. I don't know. I love beetles, and I love bugs, and I love this guy. And I wish he showed up more. But I mean, he shows up more than Spitter, so I can't complain that much. But just the Katamari Damacy alien is a great idea. It seems like such a no-brainer that anything that's built around having multiple characters with cool powers, one of them should be a Katamari Damacy, so I'm glad we got one. Gut Rot is quite the warty little fella. Doesn't really, looking at him, I'm not sure what he is, you know? He's like, from a visual standpoint, the design is not interesting. He's just like kind of a guy in a hazmat suit. Personally, I think he looks a little froggy. I think a frog design could have been really cool, because you know how they puff up? You know, you could puff up a sack of chemicals to spit out. A frog designed for gut rot would be great if they ever do another reboot. But I love gut rot. I love gut rot based on the powers because I think they're really interesting. Shows up 4 times total in non-cameo form, which is a shame. Gut rot can create any chemical compound that's a gas. I don't even know that it has to be gas, but it's really cool. When he is gut rot, he also has like chemical knowledge. Like he knows what chemicals he's putting together and to what effect, which is really cool. Sulfur dioxide, tear gas and very combustible. Nitrous oxide, laughing gas. Fluoromethyl hexafluoroisopropyl ether. I hope I did that right because I didn't practice it at all. Knockout gas. Hydrogen chloride, acidic and corrosive. Protoplasm freezing spray, a gaseous form of a special orange liquid used by crab. It is capable of neutralizing an ectoneuroid. It's a freezing spray, like gaseous liquid, like liquid nitrogen, but a gas. It's, I don't know very much about chemistry, but like it's just cool. He can pull in gas. Like if someone's trying to poison you with toxic gas, he can pull it in and keep everyone else safe. He can neutralize it inside if he feels like he doesn't want it. He's immune to all poisonous and acidic gases. He can breathe them. He can break them down. This is a cool alien power-wise. Like I've said, would be better as a frog. Most things would be better as a frog. They're my favorite animal. Ooh, loud. This is my frog teapot that I keep on the top of my dresser at all times. Lily pad with a butterfly on it for the top. I need to clean it one of these days so I can actually make tea in it because it is a functioning teapot. So you can see, look, that's the entrance. Wearing a little bow tie, holding a flower in like a little shirt. This is truly my most prized possession. I really love frogs. To prove that, here's another thing on my dresser. Just a regular ass frog. Frog in a rocking chair. Green frog. Ooh. Red frog. A bunch of other like normal green frogs. Did I say green frog? I meant to say orange frog. And my second favorite frog that I own, if I can get the thing out, little ceramic frog incense holder who sits on a little lily pad to catch the ash. Great. Oh, I love frogs. So yeah, that's a tangent for you, but gut rot would be better as a frog. Puff up with a gas sack. I mean, that's the end of it. But also, I just think making it less humanoid would be interesting. I mean, not that it's especially humanoid, but even less so. But yeah, I like Gut Rot. This is another alien that I think really deserved a lot more screen time. 4 non-cameo appearances is like a dreadfully short amount of time. I mean, it doesn't show up till I think season 4 of Omniverse, so the show was reaching the end and they had a lot of aliens they wanted to include before the show ended. But I just, Gut Rot feels like a victim of circumstance who deserves to show up a few more times. Speaking of aliens who don't show up very often, second only to Spitter, here we have the least seen alien. 3 appearances. It makes me sad. But it also kind of makes sense for Topik. Topik has no combat prowess. Topik is not a fighter. He is a heavy, slow, clumsy guy with above average strength and nothing else going for him, except for his face. Topik's face, I don't fully know how it works. I don't know if it's like a psychic thing, like it can tell what your greatest fear is, or if its face just has a property to it. But when you look at Topik's face, and the mask opens and you see it in full light, it shows you your worst fear, and it makes people like actively like throw up and go crazy from how intensely horrifying the face is to behold. That's a cool idea. I can see how there's not a lot of scenarios where that's super. I mean, like, scenario number 1, guy who's too powerful to fight, you show it to him, he go crazy. Scenario number 2, Zombozo specifically feeds on fear. If you make Zombozo scared, that's it, king. Scenario 3. Those are the only 2 scenarios I can think of that would make Topic like better than, you know, Atomics or something that's just really strong. Topic can't scare like robots or things that don't have emotion or like sentience. Topic can't scare Mauve Riedel for some reason. I thought that was like kind of funny, but also didn't. If I think too much about it, it doesn't make sense. But it's funny, so it's fine. But Topic, kind of a one-trick pony. There's not a lot of situations where Topic is going to be like the best option. But at the same time, I mean, any low-level, like, regular guy, you know, if you're doing your daily patrol out on the streets for anyone whose, like, purse is being stolen, just be Topic and it's over. Sure, a blind being is, like, immune, but other than Daredevil or Wildmutt, there's not a lot of blind, like, superhero characters, partially because it's just sort of hard to do a lot of stuff when you're blind. Not impossible, but it's a lot harder. Unless you have, you know, enhanced other senses. I mean, it's the same thing. If you didn't have the sense of touch, like your nerve endings were destroyed, you can't do a lot of stuff. If you're deaf, maybe it's not quite as impactful as being blind. I don't know that. I'm not any authority. But, you know, there weren't... my point is there weren't any blind enemies in Ben 10. So Topic didn't have a lot of counters, but I can also see how that's not super interesting to write, that he just pulls out Topic and scares someone and that's it. You can't have a fight built around Topic, although I could see maybe fighting someone who, like, with like heat or slime or something seals the helmet shut. That could be an interesting encounter, I guess. But yeah, Topic is one of those things where I'm putting him on this list because I do believe he's underappreciated, but I also think he showed up probably about as many times as he needed to. Maybe a handful more if there were more seasons of the show, but you can't do a lot with Topic. There's one way that a Topic transformation is going to end, and it's going to be he scares somebody and it's over. Or it fails and he has to turn into something else. So yeah, Topic deserves more love, but of all of these is probably the least... ironically, the least deserving of more screen time, despite having the second to least amount of appearances. But also, who cares about aliens? Me, I do. Yeah, so that was my thoughts on underrated Ben 10 aliens. I like all of them to an extent. Yes, There are aliens that I don't exactly hold a lot of love for, like Swamp Fire, most ultimate forms. But, you know, I think part of that is kind of me being a little bitter because I like a lot of these unloved aliens. I really do. And so to not get to see them in the show or even in discussions or fan art or anything, it's kind of just unfortunate. I wouldn't say like isolating is too strong a word, but there is a very small amount of people who know me on Reddit as the girl who won't stop talking about Spitter because that's everything I do in the Ben 10 subreddit is people are like, what's your favorite? What's on your playlist? And I go in and I'm like, I really like the catfish that throws up. But yeah, it's you know, it's not uncommon for me to really like things that not a lot of other people like. And I'm not trying to say that in a hipster way. I wish I liked more popular things. I should have been doing it from this perspective the whole time. This camera angle is so much better. But that's not weird. You know, a lot of people like things that are unpopular. And the fact that I like Ben 10 instead of like Martin Mystery or something more obscure, I'm not like trying to be a hipster, but it is unfortunate that a lot of my favorite designs in this piece of media that's very near and dear to me doesn't get that much love. But yeah, those are my 10, favorite like low tier aliens. Those are the 10 aliens that I wish would get more love. I am going to do a video on the new aliens introduced in the reboot. And it'll probably be short because there's not a lot of them. There's like 1, 2, 3, 4. 5. Is that it, deadass? I think is there only 5 new aliens? That's wild. There's a total of 5 new aliens, and one of them is just Water Hazard with a different design and for some reason a different name. So that'll be a short one. But I wanted to make more Ben 10 content. It's just something that I like to talk about. I find it easy to talk about, like with Pokemon, there's so many of them. I feel like I need to make really broad videos about like entire types or categories of Pokemon. And then I get like, I don't want to talk too much about one thing, but Ben 10 has a good amount of aliens for me to talk about them and make videos and stuff. I am planning on having, I'm not going to upload this for a while probably, but I'm planning on making a Halloween video. Depending on what I can record first, it'll either be a video where me and my friend Chloel watch Muppets Haunted Mansion, or a video where me and my friend Wilbur watch Phantom of the Paradise. I am currently partway through, as of recording this, I'm partway through uploading all my Lunacid videos. I have a playthrough of Kirby's Return to Dreamland that I'm going to start uploading when the remake drops next year. I'm currently doing a video about the new characters in the Slay the Spire Downfall mod. I've been thinking about making videos. I don't know. You can stop watching the video for Ben 10. Ben 10 is done. I have talked about Ben 10, and I'm good now. But I'm just gonna kind of ramble. I'm planning on making videos on Scooby-Doo, and like if I could put together Mystery Incorporated out of one like depiction of each Mystery Inc. member from different media, like what my favorite version of each character is. I want to make a video about the Kingdom Hearts command deck system from Recoded, Birth by Sleep, Dream Drop Distance. I want to make a video about the way Dark Souls does side quests and like all the side quests in Elden Ring. I want to make a video about my favorite areas in Dark Souls games. I'm working on a script for a video called Dark Souls 2 is Good, You Guys Are Just Mean, which has 2 pages of prose and 1 page of cons. Let's see. I'd like to make one day a video on Paper Mario because it's my favorite game of all time. Maybe do top 5 videos for every type of Pokemon. I want to make a Twilight Princess video where I defend the goat herding at the beginning because I really like the opening to Twilight Princess. I want to make a Skyward Sword video where I talk about how it sacrifices exploration, but I think it has the best dungeons in the franchise, rivaled only by maybe Ocarina of Time. I want to make a video talking about how Sonic Forces, like the plot and characters, should have come from the IDW comics, which are really good. I want to make a video about Fire Emblem and what happened to it. I want to make a video just talking about the weapons in Ratchet and Clank games. Those are all my video game themed ones. I want to make a video about Lilo and Stitch as an example of animated movies that have really good emotional cores that get kind of lost in the fantastical, otherworldly elements. And maybe I'll make book review videos. The problem with book review videos is there's not a visual element. Can't even put little corner pictures up. And also that it's harder to go back through a book to find talking points. I can't watch a playthrough of a book and skim through it. I could skim through the book, but I don't know. It's hard to talk about things that aren't fresh in my mind. If I do get around to it, I want to talk about the Gear Breakers duology, the Broken Earth trilogy, the Gollum and the Ginny duology, and this book called The Fire on High that I really like. Toil and Trouble is an anthology I really like. All Out is an anthology I really like. And its sequel, Out Now, is an anthology that I do not like. So that's a video in and of itself. A lot of video ideas. I don't know how many I'll make. I have this new microphone and I feel a lot more motivated to make videos right now. I'm only having class for my master's program once a week. So I might start making a lot more videos. And if I end up with a surplus, I might start uploading twice a week. I've been trying to do once a week for a little while. I might do twice a week if I end up with a big surplus and there are videos that would like stop being relevant after a certain point. But yeah, I've got this new mic, got a lot of free time on my hands, and I'm probably going to make more videos. So thank you if you're one of the 3 people who, one of my 1 views. Some of my videos have 1 views, and honestly, I think that's funny. I don't have a problem with that. The new Mario and Rabbids game came out, and it's good. I don't like the Rabbids, but it's a fun game. But yeah, that's what's coming up. If you watched all the way through this little end slate kind of thing going on, thank you. It's nice to talk about things I like. Sometimes I gotta get it out, because people get kind of tired of listening to me talk about Ben 10 in person. So put it out on the internet is a nice way to let out steam. So yeah, if you watched, thank you. Make good choices and treat each other kindly.